Not all handguns are created equal. Some are fine-tuned machines that spit lead like nobody's business, eating any kind of ammo without complaint. Others, on the other hand, are ticking time bombs of jams, light strikes, and mechanical facepalms. So how do you separate a budget-friendly gem from a disaster waiting to happen? In this video, we'll talk about the worst offenders, the top 10 most unreliable handguns you should never buy, no matter how cheap or shiny they look in the case. From budget pistols that can't make it through a single mag, to big-name models that ended up in lawsuits and recalls, our list doesn't pull any punches. We'll look at an 8-shot Magnum wheel gun that can't time its shots correctly, a polymer pistol with cracked slides, and even a $1,500 carry gun that sometimes needs a mallet to function. You might be a first-time gun owner or a long-time enthusiast fascinated by the worst designs to hit the market. Either way, there's something in this list that'll raise an eyebrow, maybe even spike your blood pressure. So fair warning. Let's get into it. Number 10. SCCY CPX2. I wanted to love the CPX2. It's a 3-inch barreled, hammer-fired pocket blaster for between $200 and $300. Sounds perfect for new carriers who aren't swimming in cash. The polymer frame keeps weight down, the grip melts nicely into the hand, and the double-action-only trigger removes any confusion about safeties. Unfortunately, range time ruins that first impression. The gun coughs up double feeds, light strikes, and stubborn cases that refuse to leave the chamber, sometimes all in one magazine. These aren't rare flukes. Watch first shot videos or chat with owners and the same stories pile up. A defensive pistol that hiccups with every brand of ammunition has no business living inside anyone's waistband. Even simple maintenance feels dicey. The takedown pin sometimes needs pliers to budge, and reinsertion gouges the frame rails. After troubleshooting for hours, you realize reliable firearms don't consume an afternoon of problem solving. So do yourself a favor. Don't buy an SCCY CPX2. If finances cap you at this tier, a used Taurus G3 or even a High Point will run circles around the CPX2. Stretch the budget another $50, and the Canex TP9 series pistol delivers military-grade dependability. Life's too short and personal safety too important to gamble on a gun that can't finish a box of ammo without drama. Number 9. Colt All-American 2000. Colt hoped the All-American 2000 would yank the spotlight away from Glock in 1992. They bought Eugene Stoner and Reed Knight's prototype, cranked out striker-fired frames, and stuck a $650 tag, a touch more than a Glock 17 back then, on the display table. The clever rotating barrel lockup and 15-round magazine looked fresh, but lawyers doubled the trigger pull to a gritty 12 pounds. Accuracy spiraled. Some reviewers printed 20-plus inch groups at 25 yards. Worse, the front sight rides on the barrel bushing, so wear sends your point of aim drifting like a loose tooth. Reliability didn't pick up the slack. Early guns seized up, and a 1993 safety recall admitted they could fire if dropped. Sales tanked so fast that production stopped after 2 years, nearly dragging Colt into bankruptcy. When history buffs call a pistol Colt's biggest embarrassment, that's my cue to leave it in the display case. Collectors occasionally chase early run specimens, hoping they'll appreciate like misstruck coins. But the All-American's flaws keep prices low even 30 years later. Disassembly reveals machining marks rough enough to shave brass from cartridge rims, and feed ramps polished by owners because the factory never bothered. A local gunsmith told me he used to keep spare extractor springs on hand solely for these pistols because they snapped after a few hundred cycles. He claimed the roller bearing trigger group lured tinkerers into over-oiling. Those bearings then slid instead of rolled, creating gritty, inconsistent pulls. Number 8. Taurus Model 608. 8 shots of 357 Magnum in a revolver ought to be nice, especially at an MSRP of $860. The 608 looks the part. Stainless finish, vented rib, and ports that promise to tame recoil. Spin the cylinder though, and optimism fades. Light primer strikes show up almost every rotation. Timing drifts until the bolt can't catch the notch, and lockup feels spongy. Revolvers earn their reputation by going bang no matter what. This one rewrites that rule. Manufacturing shortcuts and lax quality checks leave owners troubleshooting instead of shooting. If you crave a budget wheel gun, the EAA Windicator or SAR SR38 may lack polish, but they deliver ignition every time. The 608 reminds me that capacity means nothing if half your rounds are still in the brass when the smoke clears. I've put the 608 head-to-head against my old Ruger GP100 in timed drills, and malfunctions aside, the 608's extra weight and porting should deliver flat flatter recoil. Instead, the heavy double-action pull and timing slop slow follow-up shots, throwing groups low left as the cylinder drifts. Port fouling compounds problems. Unburned powder cakes inside the barrel ports, requiring dental picks to scrape clean. At an $800+ price point, owners deserve tighter tolerances. Aftermarket springs and shims might resurrect an individual revolver, but by the time you pay a gunsmith, you've spent enough to buy a slightly used Smith & Wesson 686 that runs flawlessly out of the box. Number 7. Remington RP9. When Big Green unveiled the RP9 in 2017, the $500 duty-sized polymer pistol looked poised to challenge Glock. It carries 18 rounds, feels lighter than it appears, and sports scalloped slide serrations that shout tactical. The honeymoon ends on the firing line. Rounds snag on the lower edge of the feed ramp, creating an endless tap rack routine. The frame's slab-sided grip smacks the web of the hand with every shot, making extended sessions miserable. Early adopters flooded the interwebs with photos of casings jammed halfway into the chamber, and Remington's fixes never fully cured the jams. If you need a high-cap 9mm, a Smith & Wesson M&P or CZ-P09 cost a little more, but runs circles around the RP9. A training tool for malfunction drills is the only role this gun feels, and even that feels expensive at this price. Size matters, but so does grip geometry. The RP9's gooseneck backstrap forces the wrist into an awkward downward angle, translating recoil straight into tendons instead of distributing it through the arm. During a defensive shooting clinic, a classmate's RP9 launched brass straight back into his forehead until he rigged homemade deflectors with electrician's tape. Meanwhile, my CZ-P09 tossed empties gently to 3 o'clock. The RP9's magazine also deserves scrutiny. Several users report follower tilt so severe that cartridges wedge nose down, turning the double stack into a pricey paperweight. After the first 5 stoppages and 80 rounds, I sold mine and bought a Glock 34. Number 6. Taurus GX4. Taurus crashed the micro compact party in 2021 with the GX4, dangling a $400 ticket, 11-round flush mags, and surprisingly crisp flat-faced trigger. Reviews praised its shootability, yet in May of 2023, the company posted an urgent safety notice. Certain U.S. assembled pistols can fire when dropped. Owners were told to unload immediately, box them up, and ship them back on Taurus's dime for inspection and repair. Drop-safe issues have plagued more than one brand, but concealed carry guns live closest to the real world's bumps and scuffs. Until every serial number clears the recall, the GX4 should stay on your do-not-carry list. Reliable micro-compacts like the Ruger Max 9 cost only a hair more and arrive ready for daily duty. Some shooters rolled the dice and received flawless early GX4s that digest every brand of ammunition. Others weren't so lucky. Taurus's recall advisory mentions certain circumstances, which leaves owners wondering if their pistol sits in the danger zone or not. Drop-safe failures might capture headlines, but the GX4's inconsistent ignition undermines practice sessions and raises doubt. Taurus deserves credit for covering shipping both ways, but downtime translates to weeks without your primary defensive sidearm. Carrying a loaner gun while yours waits on a UPS truck hardly builds trust. Until Taurus clears every serial number and thousands of post-repair rounds prove solid, I'll stick with my Ruger Max 9 or Springfield Hellcat. Number 5. Caracal F. Sleek styling, a super low bore axis, and a $500 street price gave the Emirati-made Caracal F instant buzz when it debuted in 2012. Shooters raved about its flat recoil and quick reset, crediting designer Wilhelm Bubbets of Steyr M frame. That enthusiasm imploded when testers discovered the pistol could fire if dropped. Shortly after, some slides literally split in half at the ejection port. Caracal announced a global recall, then went radio silent. Phone numbers died, the website vanished, and many owners were left with paperweights or refund checks. Even later enhanced editions couldn't erase the memory of spontaneous disassembly. A carry pistol that might fracture or self-ignite isn't a bargain at any price, and trust once broken is gone for good. The company's silence left many dealers fielding angry calls with no replacement inventory or tech support. Speculation circulated about metallurgy inconsistencies between batches. Some ran flawlessly for thousands of rounds, others sheared locking lugs before the odometer reached 4 figures. International logistics further complicated returns. Exporting a defective frame across borders involves dense paperwork most civilians never want to touch. Even if later generations prove sturdy, the brand's early exodus from customer service erased faith. Competitive shooters adopt reliable platforms because match fees and travel costs dwarf firearm price differences. None can afford a catastrophic failure mid-stage. Watching a slide have itself above your support hand thumb once is enough to guarantee you'll never press that trigger again. Number 4. Remington R51. The resurrected R51 promised retro cool, a modern take on Peterson's hesitation lock in a svelte aluminum shell, priced around $360. The second generation model was supposed to fix Gen 1's fiasco. Instead, shooters still report failures to feed. Bullets nosedive on the odd feed ramp. Stovepipes and slides won't return to battery without a slap. Field stripping feels like solving a metal Rubik's Cube, and the low slide rides close enough to shred large hands. For plinking, a used Hi-Point C9 admittedly looks crude, yet it runs better and costs a third as much. That comparison tells the whole story. Peterson's hesitation lock fascinates some gunsmith, but modern ammo tolerances expose its quirks. The R51's tapered chamber relies on precise case dimensions. Budget steel cased rounds stick during ejection, and hotter plus P loads batter the locking lugs until the slide crawls home. Adding insult to injury, the grip safety spooks newer shooters who ride too high, deactivating it and inducing click no bang moments. During a recent demo, an attendee needed both thumbs to press the safety while racking the slide, defeating the pistol's two-finger manipulation boast. Remington advertises pocket pistol recoil levels from a larger blowback slide, yet muzzle flip rivals subcompacts half its weight because the bore axis isn't as low as claimed. I still shoot one for old time's sake, but it lives in a range bag, not a nightstand. Number 3. SIG P210 Carry. SIG's classic P210 owns a legendary bullseye record, so the idea of a shorter, lighter carry version sounded brilliant. Then reality checked in. Tight match tolerances come with friction, and the $1,500 P210 carry sometimes refuses to return to battery when hand cycled on an empty mag. Owners describe nudging the slide forward with a thumb, a few resorted to a soft mallet. Occasional quirks might be forgiven on a range pistol, yet the P210 carry markets itself as a defensive tool. Its single-stack 8-round magazine means you already sacrifice capacity. It is somewhat acceptable if reliability is rock solid. Watching shooters coax the slide forward with their palm after administrative checks hardly inspires confidence. Some owners polish rails until the gun slides smoothly by hand, but every micro scratch tears through that mirror finish in a few boxes of ammo, and the slowdown returns. The long ejection port window, a relic of the service model, lets powder blowback paint the front strap charcoal after 50 rounds, increasing maintenance on a gun meant to ride close to the body. Add the tall profile, and concealment becomes trickier than marketing images suggest. For $2,000 street pricing in some shops, buyers expect hassle-free excellence, but any hang-up on a defensive gun raises eyebrows, especially when micro compacts half its price hold twice the cartridges. If you want premium metal, the FN 509 midsize packs 15 rounds, eats anything, and lists for about $750. Number 2. Honor Defense Honor Guard. Made in America branding, customizable backstraps, and a $450 sticker helped the Honor Guard gain early fans. Independent drop testing in 2017 crushed that goodwill. A mild tap to the rear of the slide released the striker and popped primers. No bullet, no powder, just impact. One test had already been swapped by the factory for earlier trigger issues, yet the new gun shared the same flaw. Honor Defense never issued a broad recall, choosing instead to handle complaints case by case. Its modular chassis seemed ahead of its time, predating SIG's P365 FCU craze, and the scalloped side looked purpose-built for sweaty hands. Early reviewers praised the trigger's clean break, but once the drop safety flaw went viral, resale values cratered. I saw one at a gun show table for under $300, complete with night sights, and still watched shoppers shrug. A friend attempted a homebrew fix, installing a stiffer striker block spring. Afterward, the pistol needed Hulk strength to press the trigger and still failed in formal impact test. Honor Defense advised upgrade kits, yet left distribution to individual owners, creating confusion and inconsistent documentation. The brand faded almost as quickly as it rose, a reminder that marketing buzz cannot outrun basic engineering responsibilities. Buying one today for pennies on the dollar might satisfy curiosity, but trusting it for EDC, don't bother. There are safer options out there, like the PSA Dagger or the Glock 43, that hover near the same price. Number 1. SIG P320. And lastly, let's talk about what is probably the most hated pistol in the community today, the SIG P320. The same pistol adopted by the U.S. military as the M17 and M18. This modular $650 handgun should be bulletproof, figuratively at least. Yet a growing stack of lawsuits proves that the pistol can fire without a press of the trigger. Federal agents, municipal officers, and plainclothes carriers describe holstered guns discharging during routine movement. SIG's voluntary upgrade in 2018 replaced internal parts to cure earlier drop fire concerns, but incidents reported in 2022 and 2023 sparked fresh scrutiny. A video from the Montville, Connecticut PD even shows an officer's P320 discharging while holstered. SIG fanboys argue millions of uneventful rounds prove the P320 safe, while plaintiffs point to surveillance footage and medical bills. The core worry is inertial mass inside the slide and striker assembly. If jarring motion replicates trigger travel, the striker can slip the sear. SIG's 2018 upgrade kit reduced striker weight and added a disconnector, but lawsuits post-upgrade muddy waters. Departments as large as New Jersey State Police shelved adoption plans while internal reviews proceed. Insurance carriers pay close attention to headline incidents, and I know 2 indoor ranges that pulled P320s from their rentals list purely to dodge potential liability. I think nobody should drop $650 on a pistol shadowed by controversy, especially when proven workhorses such as the Walther PDP or HKVP9 cost nearly the same. So there you have it, 10 handguns you should absolutely stay away from. Would you happen to own any of the models we've looked at, or did we leave out a lemon that you think deserves a spot on the list? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you got value from this breakdown, hit that like button, share it with your range buddies, and don't forget to subscribe. Click that bell too so you don't miss the next one. Appreciate you watching.